Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Vagina Healing Podcast. I am a vaginal health dietitian named Akira who helps women to heal from chronic vaginal infections. So, if you've been stuck in a cycle of recurring yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, aerobic vaginitis, cytolytic vaginosis, mycoplasma, ureaplasma, or any other pH imbalances, this is the podcast for you because I combine nutrition with mindset work and nervous system regulation to give you a 3-step formula to help you heal your chronic vaginal infections for good. I have free guides, I have free resources, including obviously this podcast, my YouTube channel, and there's ways to work with me down below. This episode is going to be on the fact that men are not causing your vaginal infections. And I know a lot of women like to be like, yes, they do. Men cause everything. They're the blame for everything, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And if those are your beliefs, you're going to continue experiencing that in your reality. So you need to let go of that victim mentality that men cause all the problems in your world because they don't. And if you choose to continue believing that and acting in that way, then you're basically giving away all your power to men, saying that they have control over your body and your emotions and your vaginal stability. And that's simply not true. That's why I teach a lot of women empowerment because women do have the opportunity to have power and control over their bodies and including their health, regardless of the societal beliefs that you may think that you do not have control over it because the government is doing this and men do that and men are to blame for everything. That's not true. And when you have all of these negative beliefs about men, you're going to continue experiencing that in your reality. So you need to work on healing your relationship with men because if it was the case that men are the cause for these infections, every single woman on this planet that has sex with men or does anything sexual with a man would be dealing with chronic vaginal infections. So, what's the underlying denominator? It's the woman. And it's not blaming the woman, it's the woman's microbiome, her vaginal microbiome, not being strong enough to fight off opportunistic bacteria or fungi from overgrowing or to fight off foreign invaders. And I'm going to explain to you why this is because there's science behind this. I'm going to keep reiterating this is not meant to blame women. I have no reason to come on here and defend men all day long and then just put the blame on women. No, that's not my approach. But what I'm talking about is the fact that your vaginal microbiome is its own immune system. Just as how we all know the immune system that we have in our gut and in our bodies, that when we have a really strong, healthy immune system, we don't get sick. We don't get flus. We don't get colds. We don't get infections. Like, we don't get sick if you have a strong immune system. Your vaginal microbiome is its own immune system, meaning if your vaginal immunity is strong enough, you will not get reoccurring vaginal infections. It's literally impossible um, for that to happen. I do mean it's impossible, but it's extremely unlikely for you to get recurring vaginal infections or even just a one-time standing infection if your vaginal microbiome is strong enough. There are different types of vaginal microbiomes, and they're categorized by what's called community state types. And so, if you download my free vaginal supplement guide or you purchase my 30-day Vag Reset ebook, I go over the community state types in there. Community state type 1 is a vaginal microbiome that's dominated by lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is the primary bacteria you want your your vaginal microbiome to be dominated by because lactobacillus helps to produce lactic acid, which keeps your pH at an optimal range between 3.8 to 4.5. Because when it's in between these pH ranges, it's able to effectively fight off opportunistic microbes that can cause infections or foreign invaders like STDs and STIs. So, when we have a vagina that's dominated by lactobacillus, because we want high gut diversity, but we want low vaginal diversity when it comes to microbes. Your gut, you want to add as much good different bacteria as possible, but when it comes to your vagina, you want it to mainly just be lactobacillus because that's what keeps the vaginal pH in that optimal range. So when it's out of that range, or if you don't have enough good lactobacillus, you may have a different community state type, like community state type 4, that's dominated by opportunistic microbes that can cause things like BV, mycoplasma, ureaplasma, and it has low levels of lactobacillus. So when I had originally gotten tested through Evie, which is an at-home vaginal microbiome testing company that tests for over 700 microbes that a normal GYN does not test for, I was dealing with reoccurring BV on and off for 2 years. So I did a test with Evie, which I have a link down below for $20 off of your first order with Evie. And it told me I had a community state type 4, which is a vagina that has extremely low levels of lactobacilli and high amounts of opportunistic bacteria that cause infections like mycoplasma, ureaplasma, BV, things like that. Specifically, I had a high amount of Gardnerella, which is a microbe that can live normally in your vaginal microbiome, but when given the opportunity to overgrow, can then cause BV because I had such low levels of lactobacilli. So when your vagina is dominated by lactobacilli, it's basically impossible to even get an infection. So your vaginal, I keep saying that, your vaginal immunity is going to be extremely strong when dominated by this specific bacterial strain, so that in the event in which you were exposed to an opportunistic bacteria or a foreign invader, it would fight it off the same way your regular immune system fights off colds, illnesses, and things like that. I see a lot of social media posts from women about how they went abstinent and now they're no longer dealing with recurring vaginal infections, and how this is exactly the reason why men are the issue for all our problems. And I'm going to straight up just tell you, abstinence is not preventing recurring vaginal infections. It's just preventing you from being exposed to triggers that your weakened vaginal microbiome cannot tolerate. When you have a weakened vaginal microbiome, when you have sex, you are at increased risk for getting infections because your vaginal microbiome is so sensitive that if you are exposed to something, it can easily get thrown off. So when you stop having sex and you go abstinent, you still have a weakened vaginal microbiome, but because you're not exposing it to triggers that can cause it to get an infection, you stop getting infections. So of course you think, oh my God, I stopped having sex and now I'm not getting infections anymore and men are the problem. Sure, go ahead and think that. But then when you start having sex again because you get married or something and you start getting vaginal infections, you realize that the problem is still you. It's your vaginal microbiome. And if you choose to go abstinent, nothing wrong with that. I've been abstinent on and off for a while. I haven't had sex since September. I previously was abstinent for almost up to a year. And during my previous abstinent period, I was still getting recurring vaginal infections. I was still dealing with BV on and off because my vaginal microbiome was still in a weakened state, regardless of the fact that I was not being even exposed to sex. So you can go abstinent like for whatever reason you want. I have no issue with that at all. I think it's good for women to be abstinent or just go through periods of celibacy. I know one of them means it's like a permanent thing. I don't remember, but I think it's always good to clear your mind, focus on yourself. Like there's no problem with going abstinent at all. I personally recommend abstinence to my clients who are on a vag healing protocol because their vag microbiome is already in a weakened state. We don't want to continuously keep triggering it. So I recommend abstinence to my own clients while they're healing because during their abstinence, they're not just living their lives normally, they're working on healing their vaginal microbiome so they can come out of abstinence, be able to have sex, and then not be in fear or get more reoccurring vaginal infections. So, if you are a woman who's going abstinence thinking that's going to heal your vagina, but you're not doing any work to heal your vagina, then abstinence is simply just a temporary solution. That's just allowing your body to not be exposed to triggers. But at the end of the day, your vaginal microbiome is still weakened. If you want to go abstinent to heal chronic vaginal infections, you need to be doing vaginal healing work while you're abstinent to heal your vaginal microbiome, to strengthen it so that it goes into community state type 1, dominated by lactobacilli, so that when you are ready to have sex again, you can feel free and confident to do so and not be worried about getting a recurring vaginal infection again. Now, when it comes to just sex in general, I still do always recommend that women use protection because I do believe that women should be protecting their womb space and you should not just be having sex with anybody. And even if you are sexually active like that, where you can just have one night stands or whatever, do you. But I 100% recommend using protection still because I do believe women need to protect their womb space and not allow a bunch of different men to expose their vaginal microbiome to different microbes because everyone has their own microbiome profile. Yes, your vaginal microbiome can fight off infections if you continuously strengthen it through the right protocols. But still, if you're going to be having sex, practice safe sex. If you're in a committed relationship, obviously that's completely different. But if you're single, having casual sex, I still do recommend continuously using protection and getting tested regularly just to ensure that you are good. And one thing I do want to preface is that yes, men can cause infection. So yes, men can be uncircumcised and not take care of their penile microbiome or their hygiene, or there could be DL men that are having anal sex and then putting it inside of you raw. All of these things are true. And these things can cause women to get infections. But the main reason why they can cause women to not get infections is simply the fact that the woman's vaginal microbiome is not strong enough to fight it off. Is this an excuse for men to do these things to you? Absolutely the fuck not. I do not believe men should be doing DL stuff and then having raw sex with women. I do not believe men should just do whatever. I actually last year had to speak with this guy because his hygiene was so bad. I was like, I'm not having sex with you because you're bugging. Like, don't come to me with some big ass fucking bush and BO thinking I'm gonna have sex with you because you're fucking wrong. Men should take care of their penile area. They should be well groomed. They should be shaved. They should be showered. There should be no smell. If you are dealing with a man that has a smell, he has bad hygiene down there, he's not shaved, and you're having sex with him, even with a condom, I would not have sex with him. That's number one. Two, I 100% would not have sex with him raw because he's going to just be spreading that bacteria to you. And then that can cause infections if you have a weakened vaginal microbiome. Even if you have a strong vaginal microbiome, still do not have sex with men that have poor hygiene on there because that's just gross. And that's also kind of disrespectful to you because why would you allow a man with poor hygiene to enter inside of you? That's just my opinion. Um, but still. So, yes, men can pass these bad bacteria to you. If your vaginal microbiome is strong enough, it'll fight it off. And another caveat to this is that if men can pass bad bacteria to you, they can also actually pass good bacteria to you as well. So, if you are in a committed relationship, and you want to support your vaginal microbiome and you guys are having raw sex, make sure that your man has a good diet. Make sure he's eating good protein, healthy fats, fibrous carbs, and also, he should be taking a probiotic as well because he can pass good bacteria to you. Obviously, if he's passing bad bacteria, if he can. So ensure that your man has diverse amounts of prebiotics and probiotics in his diet and that he's supplementing with probiotics so that now you even have a stronger immune vaginal immunity if you guys are going to be exchanging microbes back and forth. Same thing applies if you have a female partner. They should be also taking a vaginal probiotic so that you guys can at least exchange um, good microbes. And also, I want to touch on having a victim mentality. So, I touched on this briefly before in the beginning of the episode, but when you dwell in victim mode, your life is always going to attract people, situations, and things into your frequency that continues to keep you in a victim mode. So, if you have the mentality of you're like, why me? Things always happen to me. I always get reoccurring vaginal infections and my body sucks. And you have a really poor identity around yourself, around your vaginal health, around your health. Then you're going to continue experiencing these things into your reality because your subconscious mind stores all of your thoughts and beliefs, and your life is basically programmed to run based off of your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind controls 90 to 95% of your whole entire life, the actions that you take, your intuition, like it controls everything. So if you're subconscious beliefs support you being in victim mode or having a poor identity around your health or around your vaginal health, it's going to continue reflecting in your reality because your subconscious mind's job is to prove all of your thoughts and beliefs to be true through confirmation bias because the subconscious mind has something in it called the reticular activating system, and its job is to perform confirmation bias. That's why you and your friend may know some girl named Sally. You may think Sally is a bitch. Your other friend might like Sally. And it's because whatever beliefs you have around Sally, your subconscious mind is going to show you why you don't like Sally. So consciously, you may feel like you don't have these beliefs because you're like, why would I have this belief that doesn't serve me? But if you have something going on in your reality, then that goes to show you that is your subconscious belief. So all you have to do is just decide against those negative subconscious beliefs. Say no. I am now a person who no longer deals with recurring vaginal infections, and you keep persisting in that identity through you continuously deciding, despite what you see in your reality. So even if you see symptoms, even if you feel symptoms, even if you're constantly triggered, even if you're emotionally upset, let yourself feel your emotions, but continuously keep deciding, okay, but I'm still healed though. Okay, but my vagina is healing though. Okay, but my vagina is getting better and better and better every single day. This is how you train your subconscious mind to form new thoughts and beliefs that allow you to no longer get recurring vaginal infections because your mind controls your body. Your subconscious mind controls your life. So reprogram your subconscious mind, give it its victim mentality, and start deciding I am healthy now and continuously decide that until you are healed. You don't try for 7 days and then it doesn't work and you're like, oh, it didn't work, so I guess I'm not healed. No, you keep doing it until you are healed because your subconscious mind influences your intuition. So if you have a dominant frequency right now of victim mode, I'm broken, nothing works for me, then your intuition is going to make you take actions based off of that frequency. If you continue to work on your subconscious mind, it's going to change your frequency. And it's going to allow you to take more intuitive action from a more positive frequency in which you believe you are a person who is healed. So keep that in mind. Another thing is that you shifting all the blame to men is you giving all your power away to men. Why would you realistically allow yourself to believe that a man can control or dictate your health and your body and whether you get a vaginal infection or not? And what's so ironic about that is that we're so quick to blame men because a lot of women hate men, but then by you doing this, at the same time, you're giving your power away to the same gender that you hate by allowing yourself to believe that they're the reason why you are sick, or they're the reason why you are dealing with recurring vaginal infections, and they're the reason why you now can't have sex with anybody else. Like, no, you have the power and authority over your body, your health, and your vagina. You are the only source of your health. Men are not the source of your health. Don't think that a man can cause your vaginal infections. You have the power to control your health. You have the power to decide, I have a healthy body, I have a healthy vagina, this is just who I am. Therefore, a man cannot come inside of me. And I don't mean ejaculate, I'm referring to like the physical action of sex. He cannot disrupt my vaginal pH because I have a powerful body, I have a strong womb. I am confident that my vagina is strong enough so that a man cannot impact my pH. But otherwise, when you're allowing a man to have sex with you and you don't believe that, of course, it's going to be easy to get an infection and blame it on them because as a society, I feel like we've been programmed to hate opposite genders. I'm saying we, referring to the general public. I personally don't believe in the hatred amongst genders. Like, I have no problem with men. Of course, obviously, everyone, usually for the most part, will have some subconscious belief in opposition to those things because we've just been programmed to think that way. But I don't just blame men for everything because I just don't think that's true. I think we have the power, capability of maintaining our health and having a powerful vagina and having really great optimal vaginal health, and that we don't have to continuously put the blame on men when we have our own power. So that's something else to also keep in mind. Um, and then something else I also want to mention. Oh, also when it comes to sex in general, something that women should be more mindful of is not letting men consistently come inside of them. And this I'm referring to actually ejaculation, because if we know the vaginal pH is supposed to be acidic anywhere between 3.8 to 4.5, and sperm is alkaline, and you're constantly letting a man come inside of you, that sperm can weaken your vaginal microbiome over time. So think of it as the same way as how we know antibiotics consistently weakens your gut microbiome. Sperm consistently can weaken your vaginal microbiome. So if you are in a healthy relationship and you're trying to get pregnant, obviously that's different. But if you're not in a relationship, you're just having casual sex, you're letting men just come in you willy nilly, or even if you are in a relationship and you're not even trying to get pregnant and you're allowing a man to just come in you all the time, and you're not doing anything for vaginal support by strengthening your vaginal microbiome, that's basically like an antibiotic shot to your vagina, not in the sense that it acts as antibiotic, but in the sense that it's continuously weakening your vaginal microbiome every time you have sex if you're not doing anything to strengthen that. So, like I said, use protection. Don't let men consistently ejaculate inside of you, and set boundaries for yourself. And if you set a boundary and a man doesn't want to honor that, okay, then there's another dick out there for you. Like, we have to let go of this scarcity mindset that, at least this is for some women, not all women, that this dick is the only dick that's out there and it's the best dick ever, because it's not. Because I'm telling you right now, there's always better dick. And usually when you have sex casually with men, there's usually always going to be better sex out there. So it's all a mindset thing. Now, when it comes to actually how to strengthen your vaginal microbiome so that you do not get recurring vaginal infections anymore, and that you can protect yourself from STDs, then you want to focus on three things: nutrition, nervous system regulation, and mindset work. So, when it comes to nutrition, number one, I have a free vaginal supplement guide in my link tree. I also have free education on this on YouTube. I have my 30-day Vag Reset ebook. I have my 4-week Vag Reset course. I have the Microbiome Makeover membership where we have daily Q&A. Where you can go in there, ask your questions in the chat every single day, and get an answer by the end of the day. That has a 7-day free trial. We also have weekly live Q&As on Fridays. That's through a Zoom call, and also at the Vag Reset program. So there's many ways to learn from me for free and by working with me on nutrition, because nutrition is extremely individualized. What may work for one person may not work for another person. Either way, I'm going to give just general nutrition education. You want all your meals to have the three macronutrients: protein, fibers, carbs, healthy fats. Protein helps with repairing vaginal tissue, helps to support your hormones. It keeps you fuller longer on less calories, so it can support weight loss. And protein also stabilizes your blood sugar so that you're not having a sweetened quote unquote vaginal microbiome that can then create an optimal environment for candida and other opportunistic microbes. So you can use plant-based protein or animal protein. Then you have fats, but specifically healthy fats. Healthy fats are, I would say, most likely, I don't want to use one as more important as the other, but it's one of the most important macronutrients for vaginal health, for hormonal health, for vaginal lubrication, elasticity. And so healthy fats are extremely important. They come from avocados, avocado oil, olive oil, nuts slash seeds, pasture raised eggs, grass fed butter, grass fed ghee. You also have fatty fish. The acronym SMASH stands for sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, and herring. These are the 5 main fatty fish that can help you to support a healthy, lubricated, elastic vaginal microbiome. Healthy fats also helps with inflammation and hormonal health. So if you deal with hormonal imbalances or inflammation like heavy periods and things like that, you may want to consider adding more healthy fats. Then you have fibrous carbs. I say fibrous because your carbs should have fiber, and you should be consuming diverse fibrous carbs into your diet in small amounts. I say small amounts because you don't want to overwhelm your gut with too much fiber at once, because then it can cause digestive symptoms. But you want to have a small portion of fibrous carbs and diversify them, because you can, when you diversify your gut, you produce more good gut bacteria. You have a gut vagina axis in which your gut and your vagina are connected, so they exchange microbes all day long. So if you have a really good gut health system going for you, where you have lots of diverse good bacteria in your gut, it exchanges these microbes with your vaginal microbiome, which then strengthen your vaginal microbiome. When I say diverse, focus on these five fiber food groups: nuts slash seeds, fruits, veggies, grains, and legumes. When it comes to nuts slash seeds, focus on getting different nuts and seeds. When it comes to the other ones, fruits, veggies, grains, legumes, focus on trying new foods from those categories, and focus on eating those foods in different colors, because the more diversity in your gut from different grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and fruits and veggies, the more diverse your gut microbiome is. So, what I mean by this is, maybe one week you do a regular sweet potato, another week you do a yam, another week you do a white sweet potato, another week you do the purple sweet potato. These are all different colors that give you different antioxidants that support a healthy vaginal microbiome by providing you with polyphenols. This supports anti-inflammation and helps to support your immune system. This can look like also doing different colored peppers versus just green peppers, different colored tomatoes instead of just one tomato, different colored onions instead of just one onion. This can look like tricolored quinoa instead of just white quinoa. This can look like a 10 a what's it called, like the 10 bean mixes versus just kidney beans. Just continuously diversify these plants in your diet, but in small amounts. So if you're looking at the full plate picture, you want majority of your plate to be protein. You want a decent amount of healthy fats, and then you want to have a small amount of fibrous carbs. Start off with 5 grams of fiber a day, and then work your way up until you can get to 25 grams a day. You'll know if you're eating too much fiber if you start feeling really sluggish, feeling really heavy, feeling bloated, and waking up feeling bloated. If that's the case, cut back and go at a smaller amount and let your body tolerate that before increasing. Another thing is that if you have a fast metabolism, you benefit from eating more fats and protein, including even saturated fats. But saturated fats that come from like grass fed ghee, grass fed butter, fatty protein. I'm not referring to fast food saturated fat. When you have a slower metabolism, you may not be able to tolerate fat as well. So then you want to do lower amounts of fat. But either way, your plate should be protein, fibrous carb, healthy fats. All your meals should look like this, including any smoothies or shakes and snacks that you do. You also want to prioritize prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics feed probiotics. Probiotics are the good bacteria in your gut that then produce postbiotics as a byproduct. So imagine probiotics are like fish. They eat prebiotics, which is the fish food, and then they poop. Their poop are postbiotics. And the postbiotics feed um, your colon and your gut with even more good bacteria. And they basically produce a bunch of, what's the word? Um, Metabolites that can help with decreasing inflammation, preventing colon cancer, and also just allowing you to have a healthy gut and immune system and everything. So this can look like short chain fatty acids like butyrate. That's one example. So having these fermented foods that provide probiotics like sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, make sure that on the label it says live cultures, yogurt as well, and kefir. Prebiotics come from things like asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes, leeks, shallots, onions, garlic, apple skin, pear skin. So things like stewed apples, stewed pears, or eating them regularly, or having a mix of shallots, garlic, onions, and leeks, and using that in all your food is an easy way to get continuous prebiotics into your diet. So your diet should have those 3 macros. You should be rotating different prebiotics and probiotics. You should also have adequate hydration. You should be drinking half your body weight in fluid ounces every single day. And you should be adding minerals to your water, like a pinch of Celtic salt and some citrus fruit. So if you eat like this regularly, You eat every 2 to 4 hours. That's important. You don't want to go more than 4 hours without eating because that can disrupt that can disrupt your blood sugar. Sorry. And you want to be eating within the first hour waking up. You don't want to wake up and not eat breakfast and then wait hours before eating because, again, that can disrupt your blood sugar, which can then disrupt your cortisol, which can then lead to a cascade of events. You want to be eating regularly every 3 to 4 hours. Also, no caffeine on an empty stomach. And you want to be eating these things. And over time, you'll notice after 30 days with consistency of eating like this, you're going to feel a lot better and you're going to have less vaginal symptoms. And if you continue eating this way, then eventually you're going to have no vaginal symptoms at all. And you're not going to no longer get recurring vaginal infections. Now, you can also combine this with supplements. With supplements, always speak with a doctor or a trusted healthcare provider before taking supplements. But I do have, like I told you, the free supplement guide in my link tree that goes over different things that you can consider taking to strengthen your vaginal microbiome. So, a vaginal probiotic, things like that. So, that's when it comes to nutrition. Now, when it comes to nervous system regulation, you should be practicing daily meditation, breath work, EFT tapping, whatever helps you to calm your nervous system down is what I would do. I have meditations, subliminals, affirmation tracks, and sleep tapes on my YouTube channel because nervous system regulation is key when it comes to healing your chronic vaginal infections. This is because your nervous system controls your cortisol levels. So, if you are constantly in fight or flight mode, which is you living in survival mode, you are constantly in a sympathetic activated state. This state basically keeps you in that survival fight or flight mode, and your body thinks you're outrunning a lion. When your body thinks that it's in danger, it does not prioritize what it deems as non essential organs like your vagina. It prioritizes what it deems as essential organs, such as your heart and your brain. That's why when people are in fight or flight, stress mode, survival mode, they typically have poor digestion because their body doesn't deem digestion as important. That's why women deal with chronic vaginal infections because it doesn't deem your vagina as important. It's prioritizing the more essential things. So with nervous system regulation, you need to be regulating your nervous system so that your body is predominantly in a parasympathetic state so that your body feels safe enough to even heal. If your body does not feel safe, it is not going to prioritize healing. It's going to continuously keep you stuck in that cycle. On top of that, when you're constantly stressed, you have high cortisol. Cortisol suppresses your immune system. Cortisol changes your vaginal pH, and cortisol also leads to increased inflammation, which can also then keep you stuck in a cycle of recurring vaginal infections. When you have high cortisol, this can also lead to tightened pelvic floor and can make you feel pain with sex, such as burning, and you think you have an infection when you don't. You're just so stressed that your vaginal muscles, your pelvic floor muscles are tightening up, and that's causing burning with insertion. It's not usually an infection. So, cortisol and nervous system play a really big role in your vaginal healing. So, another part of this is you cannot continuously keep reacting to your vaginal symptoms and allowing it to stress you out. I understand how it feels to deal with vaginal infection. So, this is not me saying this from an outsider perspective. I know how it feels to be walking around extremely itchy, extremely burning, crying, not having sex, being ashamed, hating yourself, feeling guilty. I understand all these feelings, but you still need to stop paying attention to the symptoms and start putting your focus on the new version of you who is healthy. Because if you continuously panic over the sight of symptoms, over the feeling of symptoms, over the overwhelm or the shame and guilt around your symptoms, you're going to keep yourself in fight or flight mode that's going to keep perpetuating the same cycle of these infections that you're trying to break because your brain's job is to prove all your thoughts and beliefs to be true. Your brain doesn't care if it's a positive belief or if it's a negative belief. All it knows is that whatever your dominant belief is and whatever you're continuing to focus on is going to keep growing in your reality. So when you are hyper focused on your vaginal symptoms, you're going to keep seeing it in your reality. One good example I like to give is when you're going about your daily um your day, whatever, and you didn't know you got your period, you feel fine, right? But then you go to the bathroom, you see you got your period, and all of a sudden you're getting symptoms, you're getting cramps. But before you didn't even know you got your period, you were just chilling. But the fact that now you saw it, now you're getting symptoms because now your focus is, oh my God, I got my period. And you associate your period with having cramps. And so naturally you start to get cramps. So when you are dealing with recurring vaginal infections, you have to basically be so delusional and act delusional as fuck that even if you see symptoms, you have to make it work in your favor. Tell yourself, oh, this is my body healing. This is my body going through die off. This is my body just doing its thing to rebalance it because your body is designed to heal. It's not designed to be in sickness or in any kind of illness. It's designed to heal. So when you see symptoms and stuff and you feel yourself getting nervous, getting anxious, getting all worked up, do one of my meditations on YouTube, listen to one of my subliminals, one of my affirmation tracks, listen to sleep tapes. Do these things regularly to train your nervous system to stop being in fight or flight around your vagina because it's going to keep you stuck in a cycle of recurring vaginal infections. Lastly, we have the mindset work because your identity dictates your behaviors. So if you have the identity of someone who has poor vaginal health, you have poor health. Something is always wrong with you. Your vagina is broken. You're ashamed. You feel guilty. You don't believe that your vagina can heal. You don't believe in your body. You feel like you're just fucked up. If you have that identity, then your behaviors are always going to be in alignment with that identity. If you want to have a healthy vaginal microbiome, you have to have a better identity by doing identity work so that you believe that you are a healthy person, you have a healthy vagina, because if you had that identity, you would have the behaviors of a person who has healthy vagina, and then eventually your vaginal symptoms will stop. So even me, I'm still working on having a really good health identity. I do have videos on this in my health manifestation YouTube playlist, but your identity is always going to dictate your health. So if you don't have a good identity around your health, you're going to continuously be stuck with health problems, always having hormonal issues, always having vaginal health issues, always dealing with just random health stuff, even if it's minor health issues or severe health issues. So, identity work, this can look like the same thing. Subliminals, affirmations, sleep tape, meditations, these train your subconscious mind and they train your nervous system to believe and to form a new identity in which you are a person who is healthy and healed from chronic vaginal infections. So, an exercise you can do is on a piece of paper, write down all the beliefs you have around your health, around your vagina, and around yourself. They can be good beliefs and bad beliefs, but dump out all the bad beliefs you have on a piece of paper around your vaginal health and around your health in general. Next to it, write the opposite belief, but in a positive form. So let's say you have the belief that your health is bad. Don't put the opposite belief as my health is not bad. Put it as I have good health. Whatever these affirmations are that you form that are in opposition to your bad beliefs, read these affirmations to yourself every single day, first thing in the morning, and decide this is who you are now. And whenever you have doubts that come up or you just don't trust the process, go back to those affirmations, read them to yourself and say, no, this is who I decided that I am. So this is who I am now. And naturally, your intuition is going to start guiding you to doing things that's going to help you heal your body. Your intuition is going to put you in the right rooms with people that can help you heal. Your intuition is going to help you. And on top of that, you're going to train your brain to heal your body on your behalf. So, that's a good exercise to do to help you with the mindset and identity work. But this is pretty much all I have for this episode. So, to conclude, men do not cause your infections. Your weakened vaginal microbiome, combined with poor identity, combined with poor stress management, is what's causing your recurring vaginal infections. If you want to work with me, click the link tree. There are different ways to do that. But otherwise, that's it for this episode. I'm probably going to release a slew of episodes just because I have so much to say. And I got tired of making YouTube videos because podcasts are so much easier because I can just lay in bed and record these episodes. But YouTube, I have to get up, I have to fix myself up, and that shit is just too much work. So I'm probably going to just be posting more podcast episodes and YouTube videos. I might just use my YouTube channel for more sleep tapes, affirmation tracks, subliminals, things like that. So if you have a request for any sleep tapes or affirmation tracks or subliminals from my YouTube channel, just let me know. But this concludes today's episode, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye, everyone.